Christina Applegate, TV icon, but life hit her hard. She survived one disease, then another came. In 2021, she told the world she had multiple sclerosis. She wrote, "Hi friends, a few months ago I was diagnosed with MS. It's been a tough road, but as we all know, the road keeps going." That line still hits me. It says so much about grit. It also sets our path today. I'm Sarah Reed, and you're watching Golden American Legends. I grew up laughing at her timing and charm, but off camera, her story carried weight most of us never saw. She started so young. As a baby, she appeared on a daytime soap. By her teens, she was Kelly Bundy on Married with Children. Fame arrived early, yet the hardest chapters came later. MS usually begins between ages 20 and 40. She was 49. That surprise alone changed how many of us saw her life. We'll trace her journey with care, career, then the first health shock, then the comeback, and finally MS and the fight to live with it. Our facts come from her own words and from trusted reporting and interviews. Did you know Christina fought these battles, or is this news? Comment "I knew" or "No way" below. Now let's start at the beginning, where a child star became a household name. She played Kelly Bundy, sure, but she was never just one role. Christina Applegate worked across 5 decades. She began as a toddler on television. Then came the breakout. Married with Children ran for 11 seasons, and the world took notice. I remember that whip-smart delivery, the bright eyes, the bravado. It felt effortless. It wasn't. That kind of comic timing takes craft and grit. She didn't stop there. Films like Anchorman showed her sharp bite. Samantha Who brought new layers and award attention. Years later, she led Dead to Me and earned an Emmy nomination for playing Jen Harding. At the awards, she joked about her very first screen credit as a baby on a soap, and it made the room smile. I loved that mix of pride and humility. She once said it was an honor to play funny, flawed, complex characters. That line sums up her range. To me, Christina shaped modern TV comedy. She bridged old-school wit and modern heart. Every role added to her toolkit. Every set built a new chapter. She had the laughs and she had the control. She seemed unstoppable. But she would soon face a phone call that paused everything. The next chapter arrived with a shock. Suddenly, work became heavy. She hid the truth for weeks. In April 2008, at 36, Christina learned she had early-stage breast cancer. She kept filming. She kept smiling. Inside, she carried fear. She remembered the call. The doctor said, "It came back positive." Those words can freeze time. Early detection saved options. The odds were on her side when cancer is caught early. That mattered. She moved fast. A lumpectomy came first. Radiation followed. Her mother had battled breast cancer before, so Christina watched her own health closely. She used vigilant screening, including MRI guidance, because she knew time is everything. That's a lesson worth repeating. Early-stage disease can be beaten more often than not. She wanted people to know that. She said she first kept the news private, just to breathe and work. Then she went public, hoping it might help someone else book a scan or ask a hard question. I think about that choice often. Privacy is human. Courage is human too. She chose both. She faced a nightmare, then stepped toward the light. She survived the diagnosis. But survival required one more life-altering step. Her next decision changed her future, and it changed her purpose. She acted fast. There was no going back. By July 2008, Christina chose a double mastectomy. That surgery is the removal of both breasts to cut future risk. She later said it was painful and that there was a real mourning process. She also called it a progressive stance. I hear resolve in that word, progressive. It's a forward-facing choice, even when the road hurts. She described meeting her surgeon and feeling the floodgates open. That image sits with me. The body heals. The heart needs time too. She took that time, and then she spoke up. After weeks of quiet, she shared her story to help others. She pushed early detection. She encouraged MRI screening when risk is high. She helped launch support for women to access those scans. Turning pain into purpose is a brave art. As someone who studies these legacies, I see a pattern. Grace under fire, humor when possible, honesty when needed. Christina made a private fight into public good. She did not ask for this battle, but she shaped it into action. She beat cancer. She returned to the work she loved. and for a while, it seemed the storm had passed. But fate had one more test waiting. She came back swinging. She went to work. She led shows. She held stages. Samantha earned her Golden Globe and Emmy attention. Anchorman stayed a fan favorite. Then came Dead to Me. That series about grief and friendship showed a deeper layer. It won hearts. It also brought Christina an Emmy nomination and a standing ovation at the Emmys. On that stage, she even joked through the pain. That's her style. Tough truth with a glint of humor. I watched that moment and felt proud. She also spoke at major events about the roles that shaped her. Kelly Bundy, Samantha, Jen Harding. She said it was an honor to play funny, flawed, complex characters. That line still rings. This is the part of her story that feels like a sunrise. She met fear, then she made art, a walk back to joy, a proof of craft. And yet, behind the curtain, a new struggle began to grow. The next reveal would change everything again. If you're new to Golden American Legends, tap subscribe, like, and share. We honor icons beyond the headlines, and your support keeps these stories alive. Now, the turn none of us wanted, but all of us need to understand. Then came another blow. Doctors gave the news. It was multiple sclerosis. On August 10th, 2021, Christina posted a note to fans. "Hi friends," she wrote. "A few months ago, I was diagnosed with MS. It's been a tough road, but as we all know, the road keeps going." That line became a lifeline for her and for many others. It was simple, it was brave. MS is a chronic autoimmune disease of the nervous system. In plain words, the body's own defenses attack the nerves. Signals stumble, fatigue and pain can rise, balance and walking can change. Most people are diagnosed between ages 20 and 40. Christina was 49. That age made the news even more surprising to the public. I remember seeing the post and going still. The world knew her for wit and spark. Now we knew she was in a new fight. She kept working on Dead to Me as she learned to live with this. She leaned on humor and on help. The reveal came fast. The day-to-day reality came slower. What does life look like with MS when the cameras turn off? That answer is hard and honest and deeply human. Let's go there. She is candid. They call MS an invisible disease. You may not see the pain, but it is there. Christina has said she lives in excruciating pain many days. On Good Morning America, she called it a kind of hell. She shared that some days the bed feels like the only safe place. She also said she is so mad about it. Then she cracks a joke. That humor is not denial. It is a tool. It helps her breathe. MS has no cure today. Treatments can slow damage and ease symptoms. Many people with MS live a long life, but it can still be heavy. Numbness may flare, fatigue can crash like a wave, walking can change. On her podcast, she even spoke about depression returning. That is brave to admit. It gives others permission to speak. When I listen to her words, I hear truth and grit. She calls it invisible because strangers can't see the storm. Pain does not always show on a face, but it is real, and she keeps going through it. That takes a daily choice. Now, with all that weight, could she keep acting on camera? The next chapter answers that, and it is sobering. Her career hit a crossroads. Acting became painful. Long days got harder. In interviews, Christina admitted that Dead to Me might be her final on-camera role. In May 2023, she said, "I'm probably not going to work on camera again." That was not about talent. It was about health. It was about energy, balance, and the cost of pain. She still showed up for big moments. At the 2024 Emmys, she walked on stage with a cane to a standing ovation. Afterward, she shared that the day was the hardest of her life. She slept for 2 days to recover. Think about that. 1 night in a spotlight, 2 days in a dark room. That is the tax of chronic illness. I respect the clarity of her choice. This is not quitting. This is care. This is a woman drawing a line so she can live for her family, for herself, and for the days that still shine. Stepping back closes a chapter, but another door opens. Voice work, producing, advocacy, rest. Her value never lived only in a lens. It lives in her spirit. It lives in what and who she lifts. Next, how we learned the full story. She shared the news in her time. First, she told her inner circle. Then, in August 2021, she posted about MS and let the world in. After that, she sat for careful interviews. Good Morning America, CNN. She explained how it felt and what her days looked like. The updates arrived in pieces. Fans began to see the whole picture. I think her approach was wise. Health is personal. Processing takes time. She did not owe anyone speed. She owed herself. When the headlines finally hit, many people said they had no idea. Others said they had sensed a change but did not know why. Public figures carry that extra layer. Eyes watch, opinions form, but the truth belongs to the person living it. By 2024, many of us finally understood the scale. We saw the cane. We heard the jokes that masked pain. She was 53 and standing as tall as she could. Now the question behind every hard day is simple. Who stands with her when the cameras go dark? The answer is a circle of love built over years, and it makes all the difference. Husband, daughter, friends, she is not alone. Martin Lenoble, her husband, has been steady by her side. Their daughter, Sadie, is a teen now. Motherhood gives Christina a daily reason to fight. I hear that in her voice. She also leans on close friends from the work that shaped her. Linda Cardellini, her co-star on Dead to Me, is one of those anchors. Christina publicly called Linda the greatest actress and the greatest human she has ever known. That is a big, tender compliment. It tells you the bond they built while playing grief and love on screen. Fans also send waves of support. At the Emmys, that standing ovation felt like a hug from millions. She joked about shaming her disability by standing. The room laughed with her, not at her. That matters. Support does not erase pain. It does soften the edges. It reminds a person that they are more than a diagnosis. I loved seeing those thank yous, both private and public. They show a life filled with care. And Christina offers the same back to others, including people who face MS. That wider community is real. She is in strong company. Christina is not the only public figure walking this road. Actress Selma Blair shared her MS diagnosis in 2018. She used her platform to educate with honesty and grace. I remember her stepping onto the Oscars carpet with a cane and a fierce smile. That image told a story. Strength and style can share a frame. Pain and pride can live together. These stories do not match one another exactly. Every case is unique. Symptoms vary, timelines change. But hearing famous voices speak up reduces stigma. It helps people name their own pain. It helps families find better questions for doctors. Around the world, roughly 2.8 million people live with MS. That scale reminds us this is bigger than one headline. Christina and Selma both use humor and candor to cut through fear. They show that a diagnosis does not erase a person's art or heart. It adds context. It asks for empathy. That empathy is something we can practice today, which leads to the next part of her story, and ours. When you know more, you can do more. So let's talk about real ways to help. We can help. Small steps matter. Start with kindness. If someone in your life has MS or any chronic illness, listen more. Offer a ride, cook a meal, check in. That care builds strength. You can also support MS research and services. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society funds studies and offers resources for families. Local MS walks raise money and awareness. Sharing accurate facts helps too. MS is not contagious. Many people live long lives with it, but symptoms can be heavy, and compassion lightens the load. Christina has shown the power of action in her own life. After beating breast cancer, she pushed early MRI screening for women at risk. That effort saved lives. Awareness turns into scans. Scans turn into time. Stories like Christina's also teach us to see the person, not just the illness. Love first. Ask what helps. Repeat. If you feel moved today, pick one action and try it this week. A donation, a message, a walk, a promise to learn more. These are not small things. They are the bricks of a kinder culture. Her journey continues, and so can our support. She will not be defined by sad headlines. Her courage shines brighter. To me, that is the heart of Christina Applegate's legacy. She faced cancer. She chose hard surgery. She came back to work and gave us layered, honest characters. Then MS arrived. She told the truth with humor and bite. She said, "The road keeps going." That line is not just a tweet. It is a compass. In recent talks, she shared that people with the same condition have supported her. That community matters. It tells her she belongs. It tells her we see her. Media and fans now see more than the sitcom star. We see a woman who keeps choosing love, work, and laughter, even on the dark days. That is the story I will remember. As a pop culture historian, I track careers. As a person, I track grace. Christina's life holds both. The laughs still echo. The strength does too. When I rewatch her work now, I notice the courage underneath the timing. It makes those scenes richer. This is beyond heartbreaking. It is also brave. It is human. And it is not over yet. The next step is ours. We traced Christina's path from TV fame through cancer and into life with MS. We saw the facts behind the headlines and the heart inside the pain. In the end, her courage shines brighter than any label. She faced 2 life-changing battles and still finds humor, love, and a way forward. That is beyond heartbreaking. That is heroic. If this story moved you, please subscribe, like, and share. It helps more people find these deeper looks at the legends we grew up with. Thank you for watching and for the care you bring to this space. I'm grateful you spent this time with me. What surprised you most about Christina's journey? Her strength off-screen or the roles that defined your memories? Drop a comment and tell me why. I'll be reading and replying. And if someone in your life needs this, pass it on. See you in the next one and take gentle care of yourselves until then.